have to say, that was the most delightful pre-speaking experience I have ever had. Thank you, Gary. Mike, my colleague, and I got to trade some amazing gifts. I got a mini fridge full of vodka, and I got to do some imaginary jumping on a trampoline. So thank you. I want to start this afternoon with a story. This is going to be a little bit different. So let me introduce you to a family that lives in the future. They're the Montgomery family, and they actually live here in Portland. Leo and Rosemary are in their 60s, and Leo's retired, and he's starting to get really cranky and ornery because he's got the beginning stages of dementia. His wife, Rosemary, is really worried, and if she had it her way, she'd quit her job to take care of him. They have an adult daughter, Kate, who lives in San Francisco. She'd love to participate and help out her mom and dad, but she's got 2 young kids, and it's really hard to do that from a distance. You're going to meet a care team in the future, too, from Kaiser Permanente. Some of the roles will be different, like Gary the navigator. He lives in their neighborhood in Portland and helps connect them to some different services. So I'm about to play a video, but let me set a little context. Leo and Rosemary, it's a Saturday morning. They're out shopping. They're at Home Depot. And Leo starts experiencing shortness of breath. And he's got a biometric wrist monitor that alerts Kaiser Permanente that his vitals are changing. And this triggers a phone call from the KP call center. A virtual agent is going to reach out and speak to them. And the perspective that you're about to see in this video is from the KP Contact Center of the future. Hello?
Hi, this is Joe. I'm a KP avatar. From the readings on Leo's bracelet, we've noticed that he's having some trouble breathing.
Well, we just had a heavy breakfast and we took a long walk to the hardware store. So he probably just had too much to eat.
It might be nothing at all, but we'd like to take a closer look at him. I've located a Medicar nearby.
I'm fine, Rosemary.
I know you are, but why don't we just let him take a quick look?
Great. It will be there in less than a minute.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Feeling all right?
How are you feeling?
I'm fine.
I noticed that you have some difficulty breathing. Do you have any shortness of breath? Any pain?
I said I'm fine. I just ate too much.
Okay, well, let's do a few tests to make sure. Put your finger on the pad so that we can get a pulse oximetry reading. And I'd like to run a quick blood test. Please put your finger in the small compartment on your right. I'd like to bring in a physician and your navigator right now to review the results with you.
Okay, so just to recap, Leo had some shortness of breath. This triggered a call from the KP Contact Center. They had some conversation, and the avatar actually requested an autonomous car to come to Leo instead of him having to come to Kaiser Permanente. And I'd like to just open this up to the audience for a second. Take off your hats, especially if you're part of the 20% of the audience that works in healthcare, about how we do this. But what is different about what you just saw and the experiences that you have in healthcare today? I'd love to hear some observations. It was proactive, not reactive. Right. The virtual agent reached out to the Montgomerys. There was no waiting. Right, it was pretty immediate, and the autonomous car came to them pretty quickly. Yeah, the comment was, you got to them even though they didn't think you needed to be seen. And that's actually a really interesting comment. We've heard from a lot of our members that, Leo is believable because he's real. If any of you have ever dealt with anyone who's had dementia. And a lot of our members have said, it's such a nightmare to get my mom to the emergency department. If you could just make it a little bit of a less big deal and bring yourselves to us, that would be so great. Let's go on to the next video. This next video is a continuation of that conversation with the KP Contact Center.
Leo, Hi, it's Gary. I also have Dr. Green on the line.
Hello, Mr. Montgomery. I saw your results, and I'd like to do one more test. Please grab the white disc off the dash and place it in the spots indicated on the diagram.
Honey, let me help you here. Shouldn't we just go to the hospital?
No, we are not going to the hospital.
I just looked at your vitals and ultrasound of your lungs, and based on the data collected, it seems you have pulmonary edema. This is caused by excess fluid in your body, and your heart cannot pump it very well. The fluid gets backed up into your lungs and causes difficulty breathing. You have some options for which steps to do next. Your first option is to go to the hospital, as Rosemary suggested. Your second option is to take a diuretic, go home, rest, and we will follow up with you later today to ensure that the symptoms have resolved.
Is the med gonna make me go to the bathroom even more?
Yes, and it will help the fluid get out of your lungs. It should be temporary, and it will really help you breathe better. I just sent you a detailed list of potential side effects.
And also, Leo, I've attached information about costs and benefits of each option.
Option 2 looks fine. I want to go home.
Rosemary, don't worry. I'll check in with you guys again later.
Thank you.
So to recap there, they continued a conversation with a real provider, a physician, an on-call physician, and Leo was given 2 choices. I don't know if you noticed it in the bottom left-hand corner, but cost, time, and risk. And that's been a pretty provocative concept in our organization. Our members, especially millennials, they want all of this transparency, but that's engendered quite a bit of debate in our organization. Cost to whom? What kind of decision-making is appropriate here? So in that scene, the autonomous car takes them to a pharmacy where they can pick up the diuretic and then takes them home. And in the final video I'm going to play from this provocation, the care team meets up with Leo and Rosemary virtually, and they're able to bring Kate, their adult daughter who lives in San Francisco, into the conversation.
Well, nice to see you all. Is this still a good time?
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you for calling. And Kate is on the phone with us, too.
Leo, you look much better than when I saw you last week.
Getting there.
We got the whole team together yesterday to review your history, your recent breathing episode, cognitive tests, and current readings. There are a couple of things we should discuss. First of all, Leo, the team would like to try adjusting medications to reduce the risk of any further episodes.
The other stuff seemed to work just fine.
This is very similar to what you took before, but will help regulate the fluid in your body and help your heart to pump better. We'll monitor you to make sure it does just that.
Okay, I'll try it.
Leo, your geriatrician and I took a close look at your cognitive tests and brain scans. We're starting to see indications of sporadic memory loss.
What do you mean, Alzheimer's?
I think you all are making more of this than what it is. Now, I can still think, I can still talk, and I can still take care of myself.
Not Alzheimer's, but consistent with mild cognitive impairment, which may progress to dementia. I should stress that it is early still, and that there are strategies for slowing it down. I've loaded more details on this diagnosis to your videos on your profile.
I'll be checking this out online, too.
We know that your memory issues are at the very first stages, and we know that you want to stay independent for as long as possible.
I know you must have a lot of questions, but first, let me walk you through the near-term care options. I know the options here in the Portland area, and I'll be here to help you.
Yes, that would be really helpful to walk through everything. And and know what our options are.
So I'm curious, what do people think about getting a diagnosis like mild cognitive impairment via video visit? How would that make you feel, either as a person or a family member? I heard somebody say harsh. Yep. Other feelings? Impersonal. And you like being at home. Yeah. I think the responses in the audience today mirror what we've heard from our members. Some of them think, wow, this is a big change. I think I'd want to come in for that. And other people have said to us, other members have said, you know, if it meant that I didn't have to play telephone with Aunt Sally and I could get Aunt Sally in the room, I would love to be able to do this virtually. Or when we first had ATMs, that felt odd. I wanted to go to a branch bank, but now I couldn't imagine going into an ATM. So some of this story represents options for our members that we are trying to build in, and some of it also some pretty significant practice changes. So let me pull two pieces together. I didn't get a chance to introduce myself or my colleague, Mike Holland. We both lead teams at the Garfield Innovation Center, and we come from, as you've seen, a pretty different healthcare organization. Kaiser Permanente has been entrusted to care for close to 10 million members, and they span geographically from Honolulu to Washington, D.C. We have a fundamentally different business model where we combine care and coverage. And traditionally, our products have been prepaid healthcare, so there's a financial incentive baked in to keep our members healthy and well instead of paying episodically for sick care. So in that model, we own over 32 hospitals, and we deliver care in over 600 clinics. But that's changing because we have more and more employer site clinics. We have some new partnerships with retail, so we have clinics in Target stores, and we're beginning to care for members outside of our system. And of course, through virtual care and technology, we're able to meet people where they live, work, play, wherever they are. And to do this, we employ about 200,000 people. We've been around for 70 years and have been fairly successful. So this probably gives you some good context about what it's like to innovate in an organization this large and that is this well established. The Garfield Center is kind of an interesting place, as was alluded to. I often call it a Montessori school for adults. So our mission is that this is the place where the people of Kaiser Permanente, and I mean that very inclusively, the members we define as part of the people of KP, and we bring them in to co-design everything that we do. So this is the place to envision the future, but it's also a place where we empower people to test things out. So the Garfield Center is 37,000 square feet. It's a huge warehouse, and we have a fake hospital and a fake clinic, and we have fake home environments and all sorts of technology environments. And we see how space, technology, and workflow all come together to create that member experience. So what you saw was a provocation. It was not a baked strategy, and that's what I want to talk about today. We have begun a conversation with 33,000 people, 3,000 internal and about 30,000 external, about how care could be shifted out of our hospital and clinics and into the communities where our members live. And to do that, we created a couple of stories that were these immersive experiences. And this was the second story that we created. We also created a whole bunch of traveling, pop-up exhibits, and digital experiences in order to have this conversation. It was not a baked strategy. It was really meant to discuss and debate, and we've had a lot of really interesting conversations, and I've had to duck because I thought things were going to be thrown at me. We've had some very polarizing views and conversations as a result of this. But what I think is most powerful is that over the past couple of years that we've been doing this, we have been shifting from just imagining and having a conversation to actually delivering care anywhere. And we have about 25 ideas that are in flight to bring pieces of this alive. So if I were to just walk away now, it might seem like this was a wonderful linear journey that we set out to imagine care and then deliver it. My colleague Mike is going to talk a little bit about the messy journey that we've had to get to this place. So he's going to lift up the hood and tell you a little bit more.
Thank you. Is it just the arrow?
Yeah.
Okay, so this all started a few years ago, and we were given the task to basically bring to life, whatever that meant, the CEO's at the time, his vision of the 4 sites of care. And some of us didn't even know what the 4 sites of care were, but it was his vision about having treatment at home, out and about, the clinic, and the hospital. So we literally had 10 weeks to do this. So the first thing we did was we interviewed our stakeholders and our executive leaders. And we asked them, what did the 4 sites of care mean to them, and how they saw technology and healthcare in the future. And through those interviews, what we found was that it's really not the 4 sites of care, but it was really care anywhere. And it could be pretty much wherever our members are at or wherever we can influence their health. So what we decided to do was rebrand the vision and call it Imagining Care Anywhere. Our second revelation was that what we really found out was that Kaiser Permanente was really built around our clinicians and our staff. As a matter of fact, we have clinics right now that are closed at lunchtime. So they're really not meant for the members, it was really meant for the clinicians. So we changed our design principle, and our number 1 design principle was put the member in the center and have it really centered, focused on their healthcare, hence our logo here with the member in the middle. And the third thing we decided to do was do an immersion tour. We wanted a tour that wasn't just a plain walking tour, but it was more of a tour that people would be engaged and would be provoked into really experiencing what our members would be feeling in the future. And we wanted people to openly debate and discuss what they saw, touched, felt on the tour. And therefore, we built the tour at the Garfield Center. As Jennifer said, the Garfield Center is perfect for an immersion tour. We already have a clinic built out, we have a hospital floor, we have an operating room, we have everything there, even a home that we can actually put a story into it. So what we did was we chose a persona. We chose a 26-year-old Latina woman who goes through her pregnancy and experiences gestational diabetes. And that was basically a 45-minute walking tour that we created through the Garfield site. And what we did was we overlaid new and future technologies so we can sort of shift her treatment out of the traditional clinical side of the house and more of a personal setting like her home and while she's out shopping. We also designed Apple iTouches to hand out to visitors when they took the tour so they could experience what she would on her phone. So they could see what she was seeing on her phone while she interacted with our clinicians. So the controversy started right away. The opening scene for Gina's story is that she has a Saturday morning visit, again Saturday morning. It's in her house with her entire care team. And so we've had numerous visitors come through. Our younger doctors can envision Saturday morning appointments. They really didn't have a problem with that. Our older doctors said, no way are we working on Saturdays. And then they saw the care team. They saw an entire care team on her TV, and they said, there's no way we can get a care team together because it's too inconvenient for our staff to schedule all their time together. But now it is, a couple years later, in Northern California, they're now offering these appointments for our maternity patients. So it's sort of interesting, came full circle. We also had a point where Gina was basically checking in for her appointment and paying her copay by tapping a Kaiser Permanente kiosk with her phone. This was before Apple Pay. And we were worried that our union receptionists would see that as a way of taking away their work or maybe changing their jobs. So then we had receptionists come in, take the tour, and they actually embraced that scene because they would never have to worry about collecting money from people again. They could have more of a personal relationship with our members. So we actually sort of were surprised by some of these feedback. Again, we tried to make the tour a living prototype. So what we wanted to do was, like I said, have people come in, take the tour, but what we really wanted them to do is, after the tour, really brainstorm and give us feedback on what they saw. We also wanted to give them devices that they could actually use to go back and use what they found and their learning principles, and this is sort of what we designed for them, to take things like this back to their own work, and then continue to ideate around changes in their area and how they can basically look at the future of their work area, or if they came from marketing, how they could change that. Of course, all good things don't go unpunished, but the tour was actually a success, so we started to get more and more requests for a traveling exhibit that could take the experience from the tour and move it out to our regions, out to conferences that we have internally, and larger scale all-hands meetings. So we thought, well, I don't know how we're going to do, or we don't know how we're going to do a mobile presentation, considering most of our rich content is in video. And of course, we're given 8 weeks to do it with limited budget, and these traveling exhibits had to be able to be carried, and we couldn't use monitors or any electronic devices. So what we used was, we embedded the videos using an augmented reality program called Erasma, and you can sort of see it here. What it does is basically can stream the videos onto a tablet or a phone. And this basically allowed us to put all our video content onto the posters, and we could tell the entire story just by using posters, some of the content, drawings, and then these videos. And what we found was these videos were a real wow factor. It really brought people over to the exhibits and really encouraged people to really get involved and see what was going on and actually take the tour using the posters themselves. And of course, the next natural step was to create a digital experience and a website. So we actually did a website with all the stories on it, and this is the Leo one you just saw. We did them in book form, so people can take a coffee book off a table and just read the book by turning the pages over. We use regular content that we normally would use, we embedded our videos, and then we have drawings. And then we allow people to actually look at initiatives and projects that are delivering Care Anywhere. And we also have space for feedback and crowdsourcing software. One of the unexpected things we got out of all this was we got to speak at a lot of outside conferences. We never thought we would do this. We didn't think much about this, but we got invited to numerous outside conferences, including this one, of course, to speak either about our design or to speak about Imagining Care Anywhere, or just actually showing the posters. And then we came full circle. Well, these are a lot of the projects and initiatives within Kaiser Permanente that have used Imagining Care Anywhere in the design to basically launch their own initiatives in the future. They've even, had our own employees learn how to use the posters. We've given them posters. They've gone off and used them. Other projects have basically created their own personas and storylines to help them sell their initiative and gain consensus across the regions. We've again done numerous conferences internally, and it's even inspired technology around mobile applications all the way to the fundamental technology that we're using now to change how we're going to deliver primary care in Southern California. So it was been a long trip, and we didn't think it was going to go this far, but I think this is a good quote that really wraps up Imagining Care Anywhere. So if you're interested in any of these documents, feel free to hunt me down afterwards and I can show them to you. Thank you.